It's time to hop back in our '66 Chevy Suburban and take another Louisiana road trip, dip a hook at the Toledo Bend Reservoir, the #1 lake for bass fishing in the country. I'm Charlie Whinham, and you're invited to come along on my Louisiana Travels.
Funding for this program was made possible by the Foundation for Excellence in Louisiana Public Broadcasting and by viewers like you. Thank you.
One of the most popular outdoor activities in the U.S. is fishing. So we're about to head to the largest reservoir in the South at Toledo Bend. It also earned the distinction as the #1 lake for bass fishing in the country. The tranquil and crystal clear waters of the Toledo Bend Reservoir hugs over 65 miles of the Louisiana-Texas border. Originally built in the 1960s, Toledo Bend is the largest man-made body of water in the South and the 5th largest in the United States. Just how big is Toledo Bend? This man-made lake has over 1,200 miles of shoreline. That's greater than the distance between Baton Rouge and Washington, D.C. Linda Curtis Sparks is the director of the Sabine Parish Tourist Commission.
It's just a wonderful point of nature. It's a huge reservoir, 186,000 acres. Has a lot of things for the family to see and do along the shoreline. Great place to come.
Toledo Bend is a crown jewel for the state of Louisiana. From the recreational perspective and the fishery perspective, from the water supplies perspective, and from a retirement perspective. It's a great place for people to, when they do retire and want to move maybe out of an urban area, but stay in Louisiana and be a Louisiana resident, there's no better place than Toledo Bend Reservoir.
And there's no better place than Toledo Bend for catching bass. For 2 consecutive years in 2015 and again in 2016, Bassmaster Magazine has declared Toledo Bend as the #1 lake in the country for bass fishing.
I don't think that anyone could beat our numbers. I think that it took us about 25 years to get to this point, and we weren't working to become the #1 bass lake in the nation, but we were working to have one of the best fisheries in the nation.
One person who knows Toledo Bend well is fishing guide Matt Loetscher of Living the Dream Guide Service. Matt took me out on a quiet summer Monday morning to test out these lofty claims of being the #1 bass lake in America. After leaving the dock and taking about a 15-minute boat ride, Matt checks out his radar, finds the right spot, and before you know it, Matt is ready to hook me up with the right bait.
What I'm doing here is just gonna rig up what we call a Texas rig. It's just a simple hook and weight with a worm on it. A little purple worm here. I'm gonna thread this guy right up on the hook. Nice and straight. Tuck that hook in there, so now it's what we call weedless. Means it can't get really snagged on anything very easily, because there's a lot of logs and things like that on the bottom in this lake. It's pretty deep out here. We're going to be fishing anywhere from 18 to 25 feet of water. So you would just want to let the line, let it go, let the worm sink all the way to the bottom. You can see it's still sinking. You can see the line here, how it's kind of still going down. Okay, now it stops. See how the line's got slack in it? Okay, that means the worm is on the bottom. So I'm just gonna start dragging it like this. I use the rod to drag the worm. So the worm, if you can imagine, the worm is just dragging along the bottom. Okay, and bass find that enticing. So we're gonna drag it right through where they're hanging out at, and hopefully get a few bites. If you feel something start to pull back.
When was the first time you headed out here to fish?
Oh. I was younger than 5 years old, I'm sure. I've been fishing the lake most of my life. My family moved here when I was 5. We had a camp here prior to that.
Yeah.
And so I've always been around the lake. And I've always loved it. I've always, as long as I can remember, I wanted to fish professionally. Always, ever since I was just a little boy.
Matt, it's a Monday on Toledo Bend Reservoir.
Mm-hmm.
You got a nice office.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
I love it.
Mondays are my favorite day. It's quiet out here. Today we've got nice weather. It's still hot, but Not quite as hot as it has been. It's a beautiful day.
I love Mondays.
And thanks to Matt's help,
the answer to that
my
is yes,
Monday
absolutely,
is
yeah.
about to get even better.
What do we got here? Wait. Yep, you got one. That's a good one. Keep reeling. Keep reeling. That's a big one. All right, we got a big one on here.
Come on.
All right, let's keep this rod down. He's gonna
All right.
come up and jump probably in a minute.
Okay.
Come up here with me.
All right.
Just hold tension on him. Let's not try to crank him in too hard.
Okay.
This is a really big one.
Come on.
Yep. Just gonna kind of have you work the rod here. Just kind of give him a little line. That's
Uh-huh.
fine.
Bring it in.
All right, now reel a little bit.
Okay.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna reel when he lets us, and when he wants to run, we'll let him run.
All right. All right.
We'll just take our time with it. Keep reeling. Reel,
All right.
reel, reel. Keep reeling. Just keep a steady tension on it.
Okay.
Okay, here he
That's
is.
it. That's it.
Wow. Okay, I'm gonna come underneath you.
All right.
Back up a little.
Back up a little.
Wow.
Oh man,
Look
not
at
a
that.
bad day at the office.
That's a little bit of slack out. How about that for your first bass, huh?
I love it. I know now why this is the #1 bass fishing hole in all America. Wow.
Is that exciting or what?
That's exciting. And oh man, how big would you say this
That's
is?
a great bass. That's probably.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's weigh. All right. And that fish that's not quite as big as I thought it was. 5 pounds and 4 ounces.
Oh no, it's every bit of 12.
All right.
And it's what Matt does after the catch that helps make Toledo Bend such a wonderful fishery. He puts our catch back in the water.
Now we're going to release this beautiful creature here back into the Toledo Bend Lake so she can be caught again another day, maybe when she's even bigger. I'm just going to release her right here, give her a little air. She's going to take right off, and there she goes. Beautiful. Absolutely. How about that, huh?
All right, all right.
Couldn't
Living
have
the
worked out
dream.
any better. Living the
Living
dream.
the dream.
Right here on Toledo Bend. #1 lake in the country, and you see why.
Over at the Griffin Fishing Lodge, Linda and Jim tell me about the successful Lunker Program that's been going on here since the 90s. If you catch a bass over 10 pounds and get it verified, once you release it back into the water, you'll get a fiberglass trophy fish to take back home. In 2015, Toledo Bend recorded 139 certified bass that weighed over 10 pounds. These trophies represent a pair of record catches over the years that weighed in at over 15 pounds.
We've had over 800 of these in the Lunker Program since it started. So think of that. And Wildlife and Fisheries tags many of the fish. And so we have what we call real fish stories here on Toledo Bend, because we've had a father-son catch these. We've actually had, a 75-year-old lady that caught one. We had a 9-year-old little boy that caught one. Mm-hmm. We had 2 best friends that caught the same fish.
Come on.
So it's a fun story.
This nothing like when you talk about fish stories. This is the proof. This ain't
That's
ain't
right.
no fish
I say
tale,
we
is
have
it?
real fish stories on Toledo Bend.
And if your Toledo Bend trip is more than a day, you have a full variety of accommodations to choose from. There are many camping and cabin options, both at North Toledo Bend and South Toledo Bend State Park. Cabins that sleep 6 start at $120 a night. There is also the 5,500 square foot Griffin Lodge that looks over Toledo Bend. Griffin Lodge can sleep up to 50 of your fishing friends. And then there's Cypress Bend Resort for a little bit of glamour pitched in with your camping, also known to some as glamping. Cypress Bend features fine dining, relaxing spas, and an 18-hole golf course. ToledoBendLakeCountry.com can help you find the perfect place.
We have, on that ToledoBendLakeCountry.com website, we have pictures of all of those accommodations inside and out, because on Toledo Bend you can rent a fishing camp or you can rent a 5-bedroom condo. And so we like for you to know what you're renting, whatever the experience is you want. But you can go to that website and go through the photos and kind of select where you want to be.
All those lodges, camps, and cabin options come in handy when you consider Toledo Bend hosts scores of regional and national bass tournaments every year.
Most of those are hosted out of Cypress Bend Park, which is a Sabine River Authority venue. They also have San Miguel Park that's hosting a good many of them, but we average about 35 regional and national tournaments a year. This year, we hosted 69. Now that's not the hundreds of bass club tournaments and things of that nature. That's the Oilman's tournaments, that's the FLW, that's Bassmaster Elite. And we have one of the largest amateur tournaments actually in the United States on Toledo Bend. In May, it's held out of Cypress Bend, and this year we had about 3,000 amateur fishermen, children and adults. So that's a wonderful experience. But tournaments bring a lot of economic value to the lake.
Do you get folks from outside Louisiana coming out here?
Yes, absolutely. Especially in the last couple of years because of Toledo Bend being named the #1 bass lake in the country 2 years in a row. We've seen a huge increase of people coming in from all over the country. I mean, anywhere from Missouri to Maryland, Rhode Island. We've gotten calls from all over the place. And a lot of those people have come down and enjoyed Toledo Bend and had a great trip, and will come back now for years to come because of how great this lake is.
Toledo Bend Reservoir has so much to offer for anyone who just wants to get away from it all. So come on over as soon as you can to make some memories with your friends and family.
Well, you know, life comes down to memories and the things that you want to experience yourself and that you want your family to experience. You can do that here. You know, there's something that fits in every category. It's that good feeling. You went on the lake this morning, you smell the water. You know, it's that air blowing through you when you're on that barge with your kids and they're tubing or taking a son out there, a grandchild, and catching that fish. Those are the moments.
It's everything you could ever want in a man-made reservoir. That's about the best way I can put it. It's beautiful, it's full of fish. We've got great people here that'll help take care of you, come show you a good time. You can't get any better than this.
I can vouch for that.
As you can see, Mr. Charlie here, come out his first time bass fishing.
What do you say about
Catches
that?
a 5-pound bass.
What'd you say
Third
about
cast
that?
of the day. Yeah, can't beat that, huh?
Well, I got a heck of a guide.
Absolutely. I'll take that.
And that's the end of this road for now. Louisiana has so many great travel destinations to enjoy, so get on out there. And I hope to see you next time on my Louisiana Travels. Maybe I'll see you out there.
Funding for this program was made possible by the Foundation for Excellence in Louisiana Public Broadcasting and by viewers like you. Thank you.